Okay, I think we successfully did it. Okay, I think we did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 Mhm.
Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Tech Tuesday. We're thrilled that you're joining us today to hear from two special guests from Watlow. Erica Ballantyne is Watlow's Human Resources Manager, and David Reinwald is an engineer with Watlow. They will be presenting in just a few minutes. We consider ourselves very fortunate to have been able to work with Watlow over the last few years. They've done quite a bit to support our schools, from hosting our students on field experiences and manufacturing day events, to sharing job opportunities with our students and serving as program advisors. We're very grateful to all of those people at Watlow because they've done so much for us and they continue to support our schools. We especially appreciate them joining us today. Before we get started, though, I'd like for the couple people from Special School District who are joining us to introduce themselves. Ms. Bengali?
Hi, I'm Heidi Bengali, and I am the Technology Specialist Instructor for North and South Technical High Schools.
Mr. Chandler?
Hi, I'm Jeff Chandler. I'm the Career Counselor and Business Partnership Liaison for South Technical High School.
And I'm Sally Defani, Administrator of Partnerships for Special School District. Please remember that our Tech Tuesday sessions take place every week at 2 o'clock. We've lined up many partners from education, business, and industry coming in to share information with you that we hope helps you in your post-secondary planning. More information on Tech Tuesdays can be found on the North and South Tech websites. As Ms. Ballantyne and Mr. Reinwald are presenting, please feel free to type any questions you have into the chat feature, and we will answer those questions at the end of the presentation. Okay, I think we're ready to get started. Ms. Ballantyne, would you like to go ahead and share your screen?
I would love to. So let's figure this out. All right, are you guys seeing my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. I apologize.
There we go. There we
There
go.
we go. So we're gonna. All right. How's that?
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for having us today. We're super excited to be here. This is such an awesome idea, Tech Tuesday. We've got a lot of great information to share with you. And so starting off, what we wanted to do was just take a minute to introduce ourselves and then talk about what we're going to cover today. So my name is Erica Ballantyne. I am the HR manager of talent acquisition. So what I do is I'm responsible for our enterprise recruitment strategy. So I help all of our locations throughout the US, Mexico, Europe, and Asia identify what's missing within their strategy, what resources or tools do they need. I help train their team members. So anything within talent acquisition, I help support our organization. I've been with Watlow for about 3 years, and then you know, from a talent acquisition and recruitment perspective, I've been in the industry for over 15 years. And then, you know, when I'm not working, my new love is golf. This has become my new COVID passion right now. And then recently, I have become addicted to Cobra Kai on Netflix. I'm a big Karate Kid fan, and so this is my my new obsession. So, David, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks. My name is David Reinwald. I'm an equipment engineer with Watlow, and I work in what we call our manufacturing technology development department. It's a newer area within our company that's really focused on bringing some of the things we're going to share with you today into the forefront of manufacturing and help us compete with you know, some of these newer technologies that are coming out and make us competitive in that market. I've been with Watlow for 5 years now, and I joined Watlow right out of college in a program called a rotational program, and that's part of the overall talent picture that Eric is going to share with you later today as well. And then a little bit about me. When I'm not working, my new thing is telling dad jokes. That's a new thing as of 6 months. I can legally do that because I am now a new father. And you can see her pictured in the photo there. Then I also like to work on my cars as a hobby.
Awesome. Thanks, David. So what we wanted to do today was we wanted to kind of give you a good overview of Watlow and who we are, and then dive more into the future of manufacturing, specifically smart factory. And then if you're interested in what you heard specifically about smart factories, we can talk to you a little bit about some of the careers that we are seeing really starting to evolve in the future. So we'll talk about that. So starting off, you know, for Watlow, it all starts with purpose. Why do we exist? Why do we do what we do? And when we really slow down and think about, you know, what is our purpose? Our purpose is to help enrich lives through inspired innovation. So when you look at our products and our business units, they all focus on enriching lives and help making the world a better place. So when you look at our business units, it's everything from powering our planet, you know, connecting the world through our semiconductor and our smart, through the smart chip technology, improving our health through our medical and clinical, cleaning our air with our diesel technology, and most importantly, serving our communities. So through our charitable efforts and also through our STEM outreach, it all ties to our purpose to help enrich the lives of those in our communities and also around the world. So our vision, you know, really what we aspire to be. And this is where we continually work towards moving forward. So our vision is we want to be the world's The world's leading companies start with Watlow for all their thermal needs. Our solutions provide unparalleled performance. Our team members perform with autonomy, mastery, and purpose, and we're constantly thrilling our customers with a superior Watlow experience. That's our goal and our vision. So when you look at Watlow from a glance, so we are family owned. We are on our third generation CEO, Mr. Peter Deloge. We're headquartered here in St. Louis. Our annual revenue is about $430 million. We have 178 sales offices in 57 countries. We have 12 world-class manufacturing centers. So this is where our product is manufactured. And then we have 3 advanced technologies. So this is where our new products are created and developed. When you look at our patents, we have roughly 1,000 and continuing to count. And then we've got 2,200 team members worldwide. When you look at our global footprint and where we're located, we have 8 different locations in North America. We also have a location in Kugel, Austria in Europe. It's one of our ADCs, so our Advanced Development Centers. In Asia, we have a manufacturing facility in China. We have locations in Singapore, and we also have a large facility in Querétaro, Mexico. When you look at our target markets, so where do we focus our energy? So there's 4 different areas. The first one is energy process. These products are focused really around, how we power. So nuclear, oil and gas, wind, solar. We're starting to look at more environmental efficiencies. Our semiconductor industry. So these products are focused around technology that helps support creating the smart chip. So when you think about the smart chip within your phone, within your laptop, our technologies help support and advance that. In our medical, clinical, and analytical, these products span from heaters and incubators for newborn babies. We're really excited to be able to have helped respond to COVID. So we have heaters that are built into respirators, and some of our technologies today are helping support the vaccine research. And then our last one is the diesel emissions. So in diesel trucks, our technology helps burn off chemicals, keeping the air clean and the emissions low. So again, tying back to our purpose, it's really looking to help enrich the lives of our communities and those around us. And then one of the last things that I wanted to talk to you, just as I give you an overview of Watlow, is our talent continuum and STEM outreach. This is probably one of the most important things we do because it's our goal to help inspire future generations of technical talent. So again, tied to our purpose around enriching the lives. And if you look at the graphic, you can see starting to the left, you start to see little seeds. And so we think of ourselves as helping planting seeds around STEM. So science, technology, engineering, and math to our schools and communities. And you can start to see that plant grow in the graphic as it continues through high school and college and eventually entering the workforce. So ultimately, our goal is to help educate and provide more outreach to help inspire those to continue to get into that technical industry. So I'm going to turn it over to David now, and he can talk a little bit more about Smart Factory.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. So we're going to start out with this kind of a timeline, and honestly, it's one of the first things. If you were to go search Smart Factory on the internet, you'll probably get a picture like this to try and tell you the history of Industry 4.0. And I will say, as part of to kind of clean up some of the vocabulary, Industry 4.0 and Smart Factory are fairly interchangeable for us at Watlow, but widely it's called Industry 4.0. And so I'll try to keep that naming in mind, but if I slip up, that's probably why. So when we look at the history of Industry 4.0, we can trace it all the way back to Industry 1.0, which is the Industrial Revolution. To simplify that, this is when we started using machines to make work more efficient. And that could be through steam power, that could be through, the loom, for weaving, and being able to make textiles and things more affordable and efficient in that manufacturing process. So I'm sure you've read about that in history class. And another thing you might see in history class is Industry 2.0, and this is that traditional assembly line. A good way to describe an assembly line is lines of machines that made work more efficient. And I think you'll begin to notice kind of a pattern here that with each industrial step, the focus is efficiency. And so at the beginning, we had machines work more efficient. Now we have multiple machines making work more efficient. The next step, that Industry 3.0, that's the computer age. And this is where we took technology and computers and they made our machines more efficient. This is where a lot of industries, including ourselves, have been for decades. And it's doing, things that we take for granted now, just like sending an order into the shop floor. That used to have to be written down by someone on hand in paper, delivered to someone else to make a product. Now that's all automated. That's using those computers to help us move that workflow along. But then what comes next? What's the next step? And that's what we're trying to get to, and that's Industry 4.0. And this is leveraging a technology called the Internet of Things, specifically industrial Internet of Things in our case. And what Industry 4.0 seeks to accomplish is connect the computers and the machines, make them communicate, and allow the production line to become more efficient because some of these transactions, some of this information is automatic and it involves a lot of automation. A good example of Industry 4.0 would be having someone type in an order online and it going straight to a machine and the machine just starts. And it's connecting that purchaser to the production floor, to the distributor, and then back to the purchaser, so that that entire distribution network can be done as automated as possible, and we don't have stops or starts or stutters in between. Eric, could you click the next slide? Thank you. And so what is Smart Factory or Industry 4.0 to Watlow? And I'll go over some of our vocabulary or the buzzwords when we start to talk about this industrial Internet of Things. One of the first ones is big data. Big data is a lot like what it sounds. It's just a lot of data. We're now in an age where data is very accessible and very easily stored. I can remember the time when a flash drive that was 1 gig would have blown people's minds, but now they hand them out for free at every little tech fair, and you probably can, find one laying on the road somewhere. Information's cheap and it's easy to store. And we want to leverage all that information to make improvements on our line, make improvements on our products, and optimize what we're trying to create. Another word is automation. As I mentioned before, that's trying to make these things that we do on a daily basis automatic, or remove some of the pain that we might have in production. Now with Watlow, automation kind of looks different because we have a very niche product. It requires a lot of operator input. It requires a lot of complexity and technical expertise. So that automation doesn't necessarily look like a machine doing someone's job. It's automation to make someone's job easier. And that's kind of the partnership that we have with Industry 4.0, because we know that we have a lot of operators that we lean on heavily to create our products. Another big buzzword is machine learning. That's taking this big data, that's taking all this information and plugging it into algorithms, or some of these data centers that you might hear that Google or Amazon have, where they can run their complex computations and pull information that the human eye may not necessarily see. IoT and IIoT, that's Internet of Things, industrial Internet of Things, that really covers the protocols and the new standards that are being used in industry. So that's just how we communicate between the different devices. Real-time data processing, that's taking information that might have been stored in a file before that no one ever looks at, and allowing computers to make some adjustments or make changes in real time to our equipment, so they can begin watching this data stream and see if a part might be going out of spec and make a correction. Connectivity, that's pretty self-explanatory. That's just making sure everything can communicate. And then there's a ton of more words that we could probably go into that really are underneath that IIoT or Industry 4.0 umbrella. But really for us, it's taking a combination of these tools, of these buzzwords, and trying to make more decisions or make decisions quicker about our processes. And the little image I have here on the right, this is just kind of a picture to show where Watlow's going and how we are a smart company or an industrial 4.0 company. So some of those areas in orange, those are areas that we can actually pull in our own Watlow technologies and change the industry and provide technologies that may not exist. And some of those are in advanced analytics. We pride ourselves as a heater company who's been here for almost 100 years, so we really know heaters. And we're able to take that knowledge, put it into some machine learning, put it into these advanced algorithms, and share that knowledge with our customers so they can have more efficient systems. Another thing is that ATS block at the very bottom right, that's our adaptive thermal systems. This is taking that smart technology and plugging it right into the heater and right into our controllers so that when someone buys our product, they can just set it and forget it. And the machine will be able to tune itself, will be able to self-diagnose, and create a lot of capabilities that they might have had to kind of babysit before. We can now trust that our controllers will, bring them to set point or control their system as designed. But then some of the other blocks, those gray blocks there, we're just calling those the industry standards. And that's where we're trying to leverage some of the other companies that are experts in this and have them merge well with our industrial 4.0 picture. So when you look at data collection, data management, cybersecurity, we're going to rely heavily on a cloud provider. We use Microsoft for a lot of our services. We'll be using the Azure cloud more and more as we have lines come up. But we're not a data storage company. Watlow's never going to have a big server warehouse. We're going to leverage some of those partnerships and things to make sure that the uptime and the performance is there for our customers as they begin to use our technology in conjunction with their Industry 4.0 infrastructure. Erica, one more slide. All right, and this is a more tactile example of how we're beginning to use some smart factory or some of those buzzwords in our production floor. So that image you see on the right, the very far right, that is a machine that is simply called a tube cutter. I'm sure you can guess what it does. It cuts tubes. We have 6 of these that are actually across Watlow. We have 3 of them here in St. Louis and 3 of them in Mexico. And we've noticed a trend from our operators or our technicians that are out on the floor using these things every day, that we have some that are a little more finicky than others, and they'll go down. We don't necessarily know what that line down or why it's lined down, but right now we're restricted by having only someone who's on site, physically there next to machine, can go to the screen and see what's going on. The diagnostics are all trapped in that machine. So if we have a technician on site who knows what they're looking for, great. They can probably get it up and running again, and we're going to start cutting tubes. But if we don't, we wanted to make sure that we could get that information out so that someone remotely or someone who, currently in the times of COVID might be working from home has access to this machine and can help support it remotely. And so that's really what the project goal around this particular machine was. And that little device to the left, that blue box, that's our gateway. And a gateway is a pretty common piece of technology that you'll see in an Industry 4.0 systems. We're able to plug this into our machine, do a little custom programming, make minimal changes to the equipment, and now we can send that information out to some of the engineers or support technicians and things like that who might not have been physically at the machine. Another thing that we're doing with this is actually publishing some key performance indicators, or this is information that we feel is important from the tube cutter, and we can display that on a workbook or on a TV somewhere in our Advanced Technology Center so that people could just see it and they can see how the machine's running. That's the kind of stuff that this connected factory, that smart factory, enables us to do. All right, Erica, next slide. And then Erica, jump in at any point if you want to add more here. But how does this smart factory work that we're doing fit into careers, and how does it fit with the different options that are out there in the industry? So if you start looking at developing the technologies, that's really engineering. And so some of those traditional engineering, the mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, computer science, computer engineering, instrumentation and controls, those are the type of people that are going to continue developing these smart technologies. And they're the ones who will, design a tube cutter, and they can put that tube cutter out into production. But once that tube cutter is out there and operating, you need quite a few people who are knowledgeable and able to support that. And so that next level, that technician, that's understanding how the technology is used and continuing to support it. So this is the person that can remote in and actually say, hey, that's what's going on with the tube cutter. We need to bring it back online. There's a lot of options coming out within 2-year technical degrees, and there's even more coming up every day. Some of these I hadn't heard of, 5 years ago. These are all coming in now to help support this smart factory. And some of those are like the controls technology or advanced manufacturing. And then finally, operations, the person out there working with the machines. We need folks who are willing to learn and willing to, use that data that we're starting to collect to make decisions. And that's the most important thing about a smart factory, is collecting the data and doing something with it. So that really is true for all 3 of the different job opportunities here. It's taking that data in and doing something with it. Erica, do you have anything more to add to that?
Yeah, and so I would add too. So we've done a lot of work recently looking at our workforce, specifically as our business is transforming and how we're embracing this new technology. And so each one of our sites is starting to transform, and with that is our talent. And so, as you think about your career and how you could potentially fit in Smart Factory, it's not a one-stop shop, so to speak. So at least here at Watlow, if you wanted to, you could start out as an operator. We have a great tuition reimbursement program. So you could go to school at night or on an off shift. We also have internal programs. We have what we call our rotational technician mastery program that helps our internal folks, our internal operators, get to that next level of development where they're becoming a technician. So there's a lot of different opportunities once you get internal to get more involved. And so I think that was my kind of bit with it. So David, anything else?
No, I think that covers it. I think now, if I'm not mistaken, we could open it up for questions.
Yeah, what questions can we answer for anyone?
We don't have any questions in the chat just right now.
Erica and David, I'm wondering, what advice do you have for our seniors as they're looking forward and trying to plan what their life is going to look like for after graduation? What advice do you have for them right now, especially those who might be considering entering the workforce?
I would say from my perspective, it's just going out and having the conversations, talking to different people about their careers, where they started, advice for them. So really just doing your homework and your research on and using different people's experience out there. Leverage your potential schools and your universities that you may be looking at. They have great resources too. I would recommend using your internal resources for your high school counselors and teachers. Feel free to reach out to Watlow as well. We're always happy to have people shadow and see what it could potentially be like as well. David, any thoughts? I don't know if David has a ad. Go ahead, another question.
I just a quick question. I noticed on the like career development slide, you had planting the seeds kind of thing. I know 2 of the slides. One was high school involvement, which I think is fantastic. But you also had a piece there about high school internships. Could you speak a little bit to that, or what that looks like? Or
yeah, so we've had a few partnerships in the past where we've brought in high schoolers for maybe 2 to 3 weeks just to get exposure, to work on smaller projects, just to get a taste of what it looks like. Currently right now with COVID, we're still kind of reworking that, but it's definitely something we would be interested potentially with North and South Tech High School for sure.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. Obviously, once we're back in school full time.
Erica, would there be the opportunity for perhaps part-time employment for any of our students who were in like our precision machining programs or welding or one of those advanced manufacturing type programs?
I think it's definitely something that we could look into. I don't think that we have a lot of it right now, but it's definitely something we would be open to exploring.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. And Mr. Mitchell, you joined us right as we were beginning. Did you want to introduce yourself, and did you have any questions that you'd like to ask?
Um, well, I'm Mr. Mitchell. I teach the design entrepreneurship program. I told my students about this. I think a lot of them have conflicting events in their schedule, so hopefully we can make a recording of this available, and I'll share that with them because I think there's some great information that you guys are sharing there. My program touches on a lot of different things from innovation, manufacturing, development, business management. And I feel like Watlow, you guys are already a business partner for the class. And I feel like you guys are a great partner. Part of it is because I feel like you guys are an innovative company, but also you're combining a lot of different aspects of what we try to teach in the class. Not to say that every student's going to be a perfect fit for your company or anything like that, but between how you approach innovation, how you're integrating manufacturing, but also sort of the holistic vision of your company's mission and how you communicate that as an organization that's solving problems and improving experiences for people. So I think that's really valuable for my students to see that, and also to hear somebody talking about, you could explain it from a very sort of banal, perfunctory kind of way, but focusing it on how it impacts people, I think, is really important for students to hear. And it also says a lot about the culture of your company, which I appreciate. I was trying to come up with some good questions, and I think some of them were already asked. I guess for me, and this is maybe more for my own personal knowledge, but obviously this is a highly disruptive time that we're going through right now. So how is that impacting Watlow's vision for the future? How are they planning for such an uncertain time? I know lots of manufacturing is busier than ever, while other industries are bottoming out with very little demand, right? So how are you seeing all these shocks, and how are you also managing the disruptions that might be occurring with your clients or with your partners and supply chains?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, from a COVID perspective, I'm so proud of our team, our safety team, our leadership team, our team members. They've really embraced just a lot of the safety, precautions that we've put in place. It's become the norm. We are a collaborative company, and so we have found this nice hybrid of still working from home, but still you got to be on site as well. And so I think as an organization, we've done a really nice job of continuing to work through it. We're still having a good year. We continue to evaluate, our business plans, the work development. We have a lot of transformation that's going on in different sites. And so it's a very exciting time to be part of Watlow, for sure.
And we do have a question that just came through in the chat as well from a student. The student is interested in knowing that if the internships or job shadowing may be postponed for now, do you believe that they will be offered at some time in the future?
I do, absolutely. I think that's something that we're looking at potentially maybe for next summer, what that could look like. I think in the past we were surprised by COVID, but now, unfortunately, it's become more of the norm. And so we're learning, how do you continue to go about day-to-day activities? So I could definitely see us having those opportunities this summer.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions or anything else to add to Erica and David's presentation?
I have one other question. So what advice would you have for our students right now? Because obviously their lives have been very disrupted. A lot of them are really struggling with remote learning, working from home. And I think people in the workforce are feeling that too. But how can they turn this kind of big challenge that they're facing? How can they use this as a strength? This kind of experience is going to help them if they are interested in joining Watlow or another really top-notch organization.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. The first thing that comes to my mind is continuing to build your network. There is such power in building your network, because then you get more visibility to possibilities and opportunities. And so it's looking at, not only maybe your own personal network, but also then looking at, okay, who's in your family's network, who's in your friends' network, and building that out, working those relationships. The other recommendation I would have too is to get comfortable with technology, get comfortable being on camera, get comfortable, working remotely. Because I think that's something that, again, we're embracing now, but maybe we haven't as much in the past. So being comfortable with being on camera, and reaching out virtually.
That's really great advice. Okay, anything else? Okay, well, Erica and David, we can't thank you enough for joining us this afternoon. The information you shared is incredibly helpful, and we really appreciate your time. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and just conclude this session then. Thank you all very much for joining us. Yeah,
Thank you guys so much.
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Hey,